Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tucson. So today I want to talk about an experience I had a couple of days ago. So I'm sitting on the porch and I remember a sermon I was listening to, and it was about Sarah and how she had her servant lay with Abraham so they could have a child. And I was thinking again of what that preacher said. He said, he would that Sarah asked her to leave the camp, but she had Abraham do it. And I was kind of taken back by that because, every child matters. And so um sometimes, people have a child and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna have a relationship and I'm gonna have another child. And so they don't pay attention uh to all their children, you know, just whatever ones they want to like hang out with. Um, and then, um, so I started thinking about it, and then I saw Abraham, and I started asking questions to God. I said, Abraham had faith in you, and if he did tell his wife he didn't want to do it, and I know it's probably out of the love for her, but he did do it for the love for her. She didn't have faith in God that he was going to keep his promises because of her old age. But Abraham knew, and he even said he will provide, and but they did it anyway. And so what I found interesting was today I came home and I started thinking about Sarah and Abraham again. And so I asked Father, is there something you'd like me to learn today? In chapter 15, and it's when God promises Abraham a son. I'm sorry. And so um, it states in the very beginning here, it says, it's the Lord's covenant, you know, his promises to Abraham. Sometime later, the Lord spoke to Abraham in a vision and said to him, "Do not be afraid, Abraham, for I will protect you, and your reward will be great." But Abraham replied, "O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since you've given me no children, Eliezer's of of Damascus, a servant in my household, will inherit all my wealth. You have given me no descendants of my own, so one of my servants will be my heir." Then the Lord said to him, "No, your servant will not be your heir, for you will have a son of your own who will be your heir." Then the Lord took Abraham outside and said to him, "Look up into the sky and count the stars if you can. That's how many descendants you will have." And Abraham believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. And so, my point is that it was never Sarah's Ichabod's son who was going to carry the throne, right? But Father did provide for him. It's he had his own kingdom and stuff. I think in a lot of ways is that there's a whole picture here, and as we read the scriptures as a whole, the whole book, we get a better outline of what's going on. It's always easy to blame the woman, and that's what our society is today. Let's just blame them. But then men will use them in their offices and other places to carry out their deeds. But it's like, where's the moral in that? You know, some women are in high places, but they're still not getting the respect they deserve, and they go out and make dumb statements or whatever. And then you got children, defending children under the 18 years of 18 because it's like no one's thinking right. Like, what's going on? Like, there seems to be all this confusion. And but the thing is that you got to read the Bible as a whole. We got to go from the very beginning and just start reading it, you know. And I'm going to actually start from the beginning again and read it again because I think we're missing valuable information in here. We got to stop blaming women. That's not what the Lord Jesus Christ said, that we were equal. Adam and Eve worked together when they were kicked out of the garden. Even in the garden, they were working together. She was doing her thing, he was doing his thing. Outside of the garden, they were having children and they were supporting and helping each other. It's not about, I do more than you, so I get to have this more. I mean, a lot of people who work and support in the financial part in the home will attack the person who's staying home taking care of the kids, which is full-time job. But when that person needs some space or some time, what do you need that for? I worked all day long. You know, it's like that's not adding up. Many people have stated that we're underpaid. Housewives, you know, people who help, help support people's other kids. We're we're not getting paid enough. And so when we need help through, through programs and stuff like that, when those aren't available, the only person we have is God. And that's why that prayer and talking to him is real important. And I found it very interesting how Abraham came about. Sitting right next to me. But I was talking to God, I'm asking him questions. Maybe I should have asked Abraham. But sometimes in different situations I don't feel comfortable. But God, he's right there, so he's hearing, what I'm speaking, what I'm saying. Abraham loved his wife enough to give her a child that she wanted. But the problem is, I think she didn't get to hold that baby and nurture it and treat it like her own. The the person who gave birth to the child is the one who gave that attention. And I could see where the jealousy sat in. I can see it because there's a lot of mothers out there who don't have children. And I find it really interesting how it wasn't made clear through the whole process. And I found that interesting too. So there was a lesson there as well. You know, when you want something, you got to be clear about what you want. State it. And in this situation here where I live, we were shown a clean apartment, new carpet, or it didn't have carpet because it was flooring. Everything was brand new. So, we didn't get that. We have a dirty carpet since the second week we've been here. And then, really, it's really disgusting. It smells too. But, um, but that's what we were expecting to get paid, get in return a place that's clean. I guess that wasn't specific enough when you're showing me a show apartment. We'll let that go. I'm just saying that, that's when we filed everything and not all our complaints was because it wasn't ready to rent. It had holes in the walls. And their maintenance guy was asking her, how do you want me to fix that? But you're the maintenance guy. He didn't use drywall. He would use wood pieces. Super strange. The front door didn't lock. It wouldn't close. And that was because it was turned around. But if they were here taking pictures, they would have known. There was a lot of problems here. And then they wanted to lock us up. We didn't rent the patios. It's their breezeway we rented. But it wasn't clean either until I came in. Started pointing out all the flaws of this person who wanted everyone to act. She was speaking and she wanted everybody to follow. So, reading chapter 15, it was Father who stated who would be the heir of Abraham. And when one makes decisions, you got to look at it from a whole ball game, not just one way. And there was confusion, but this preacher put all the blame on her on how she treated Hagar, but God provided for them, for that child and the mother as well. I'm sure, and I know it was heartbreaking, when they left, and they never saw each other again, which is a shame because it does happen on a regular basis in all kinds of circumstances and situations and things like that. But I wanted to go further into this, but Father was like, no, we're going to leave it here. We're just going to cut it right here. Because the point is that God is the one who makes the final decisions. He is the one who judges. But it was really, I was really like, it was rolling around in my mind a lot. And he wanted to clear it up. And he wanted me to make a video to clear it up. We got to stop blaming and start making change. Start working together. Because women have a lot to offer in this world, tons. And having that mother instinct is huge, especially for a business. Peace and God bless, and I'll leave you with that.